Hello everyone, and welcome to this virtual session of Atlantis University. My name is Sammy, and today we will talk about opportunities in the United States, international students, the academic programs at Atlantis University, and requirements for international students who are interested in taking advantage of these opportunities. To talk about this today, we are joined by three exceptional guests. First, we have an extraordinary woman who is part of Atlantis University's International Admissions Division and designated school official, Rebecca Ressler. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you.
We also have Vice President and Director of the Admissions Team, Mr. Juan Cruz Torres. Welcome, Mr. Cruz.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
And finally, we have a professor from the School of Technology and Atlantis University's Director of Career Services, Professor Alex Lima. Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me here.
Thank you all for being here. To all of you that are in your homes, offices, from wherever you are, thank you so much for being with us. I want to invite you to ask your questions through our chat so that our career specialists who are also connected with us at this time can answer them. At the end of this live session, we will have private Zoom rooms for those who want to finish their registration process today and get their welcome kit, or for those who want a personalized orientation. If you'd like a private session, please request it through our chat and we will send you the link to your private virtual room. Well, without further ado, let's start with our Vice President, Mr. Cruz. Could you please tell us a little bit about Atlantis University's history, what kind of institution we are, and how Atlantis University was born?
I'll be happy to. Atlantis University has a long history of excellent education. We have been in business for over 40 years. About 14 years ago, Atlantis University here in Florida became what it is today. We established our first campus in our Biscayne Boulevard, and then 3 years later we also added our second campus, which is where we're filming today and we're conducting this conference. Atlantis University is not only an opportunity for foreign students but also our local community. We have different schools. We provide education for undergraduates under the associate's, bachelor's degree. We also master's degree in some certifications as well as diploma programs. We are nationally accredited, recognized by the Department of Education, by the Department of Veterans Affairs, by the Department of Homeland Security, as well as State Department and many other entities that essentially certify what we do as being a legitimate education entity.
Great. Mr. Cruz, what are the aspects that are taken into account when designing the academic programs?
There are many aspects that we consider when we actually launch a new program. Normally what we do is that we look at projection-wise opportunities for employment for our graduates. So once our programs go into place and they're approved and accredited, we take a look at basically what opportunities will be, and we use the Department of Education, their statistics. Normally they have a long-term projection of 10 years that tells you what fields are growing. Like for instance, at this time, looking at the healthcare. You're also looking at information technology. Obviously throughout COVID, this is something that have come to the forefront of employment because of demand for it.
Right.
And so you take into account really what is it that the student is going to be prepared for, and by doing so you want to make sure that the student has the competencies and all of the knowledge they need to be able to go into the field and be able to execute the positions that they're applying for. So we're looking at an outcome rather than a start. We want to make sure that our students are well prepared, that they have all the skills to be able to work in the field.
Another critical issue, and one that people should undoubtedly take into account when selecting a university, are accreditations. Is Atlantis University an accredited school?
That's a very good question, because a lot of people want to make sure that when they study, that they go to an institution that their degree is going to be recognized. And recognized not only here at the state level, but at the federal level, as well as internationally. And as I mentioned before, ACCSC is our national accreditation agency. So we are nationally accredited, but we're also recognized by CHIA. CHIA is an accreditation that basically identifies institutions that are recognized globally. So anyone who wants to take a look at Atlantis University to determine if we do have the actual accreditation, they can go through CHIA and then they can look us up and they'll realize that we're recognized by the Department of Education. What that means to our students in the United States is that their education is recognized not only in all 50 states, but also all the territories of the US and abroad.
Mr. Cruz, regarding schools and academic programs, can you please share with us the schools that we have at Atlantis University and the programs we offer?
I'd be happy to. We have the School of Health, we have the School of Information Technology, we have the School of Engineering, we have the School of Education, and that's in the academic side. We also have a School of ESL, English as a Second Language, to help our students that are coming specifically from abroad, and they either need to improve their language, or some of them, they're simply here to learn the language. So those are basically the 5 different schools that we have, and we have been very successful, and we selected these particular fields because of the demand for each one of them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cruz. We'll get back to you in a moment.
Thank you.
Rebecca,
Yes.
as we mentioned at the beginning, you are Atlantis University's designated school official. Does this mean that you're in charge of everything regarding international students and their immigration status?
Yes, that is correct. As the DSO, I'm responsible to maintain all I-20s issued to students who have the student F1 visa. And that's from start and initial status while they maintain and they're attending school up until they graduate and they apply for their work permits.
So what exactly does this mean? What is the accompaniment that you offer to students from other countries to study in the United States?
Great question. So let's start with the I-20, which is the visa document that they need for the embassy visit. Once they're approved for the visa, they join us for study. They come in on an initial status. They join the school they're studying with us, which transfers into an active status. And upon graduation, they apply for their work permit, which goes into their OPT and STEM program.
And the next question is for you, Professor Lima. Why is it a good opportunity for international students to come and study in the US? What are the benefits?
Yeah, so there are a lot of opportunities and benefits. Now, we estimate about 1.2 million international students in the United States. And when a student comes, he or she will have a tremendous opportunity to get exposed to lots of culture, which means ways of doing things, different ways of different food, different ways of thinking about the world, about doing business, about studying, about connecting, etc. With the power of social media and all the tools that we have today, that increases the potential for learning and engaging even more, right, than before. That's one very important point. Secondly, the United States has, the universities in the United States, they're very technologically equipped, which means the student experience, in particular in Atlantis University, student experience is extremely well-rounded in terms of giving the chance for the student to get exposed to a lot of things. And by the way, that's the third thing, that there's no other country, in my view, that has so many things available for a person to discover, such as in terms of research, in terms of developing best practices, you name it, we have it. So, which means the individual here can know and learn and engage in lots of things in the areas of study, of interest that she or he has. Finally, the benefits is exactly this global view and being exposed to multicultural environment. So, which means when the individual returns to the job market, if he or she would, in the global market that we have today, having these experiences is a definite plus, right? So it's unbeatable in terms of job opportunities and personal growth as well, right?
Definitely. So how are the job opportunities for international students in the United States?
Well, I would answer this question in a very simple way, that as I just mentioned before, the global market implies that companies are looking for people that can play in the global economy, the global markets and doing things that correlates or relates to different cultures or different businesses, ways of doing things, et cetera, et cetera. So in the United States, because we are the #1 economy in the world, that's even more, that's much stronger, this kind of thing. So the opportunities for individuals here is exactly knowing more and better and the challenges and the opportunities of the global economy. So which means by staying or by spending time studying here and knowing these multicultural and understanding the American culture as well, right? Mm-hmm. Definitely. I think the student has a plus to really understand how the global economy works and be better prepared, regardless if he's here or in any other country, right? So the things that he or she would have learned will benefit him or her anywhere.
Right.
Sammy, if I may, I want to add to what the professor was saying. One of the benefits of the actual visa, the international student visa to come to the United States, is to give the students an opportunity to gain experience within the United States. So as a benefit, when Rebecca was talking about the OPT, what we're talking about is occupational practical training that will give them that employment opportunity. Normally, this is a 12-month period. Mm-hmm. Now, for students that in addition to that are also in programs that are known as STEM, which means science, technology, engineering, and math, they're also qualified and can apply for a 24-month extension. So in its totality, they can study in the United States, complete a program, and work for 36 months. This will give them a tremendous competitive advantage. So when they decide to apply to go home, they can bring all this knowledge that they have learned here, and they can help not just our economy, but globally, that we can have all these graduates contribute to the global economy.
Yeah. And Rebecca, regarding those who wish to be here after finishing their studies, what are their options? Could you please explain to us what is precisely the OPT and who can apply?
Yes, as Mr. Cruz just mentioned, so most students under the associates, under the bachelor, and under the master program can apply for 12 months of practical training. Okay, so around 90 days before they finish the program, they would come have a visit and review the guidelines so that I can show them where the forms are, where the instructions are, and they can apply for the work permit. Once granted permission to work for their 12 months OPT, as Mr. Cruz says, they're eligible, some programs are eligible to apply for an additional 24 months of work on extension to that. And usually, most students have to realize that OPT runs into STEM, right? They can't apply straight to STEM, so just keep that in mind.
What are the requirements for all the international students who want to apply for an OPT or a STEM?
So the actual requirements are, number one, to have good academic standing, complete the program that they are enrolled in, mm-hmm. right? They have to graduate. And the other is to apply in a timely manner, right? So students have about, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Cruz, they have about a 5-month window to apply for the OPT. That's 90 days before they graduate, up to 60 days after. Okay.
Do students get paid in their OPT and their STEM?
Yes, it is a mandatory requirement to have a paid position. And I want to add one thing. Once they're approved for the OPT, it is important that they apply and have their offer letter or given work permit or an employer within 90 days of accepting the OPT, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you. Mm-hmm. Remember to ask your questions in our chat so our career specialist can answer. And if you want to pass on to a private Zoom session, also please request to receive the link in our chat. Rebecca, once a student gets his or her OPT approved, what do they need to keep it? Are there actions that can risk them losing this opportunity after approval?
Yes. So they, like I said before, they have to report employment within 90 days of being approved. That is the most important. So I think most students should be ready, visit our career services and be ready to apply and look for employment so they can report it on time.
And can they travel out of the country while they're doing the OPT or the STEM?
Yes, it's not recommended while they're waiting. When they're in pending status waiting, no, they should not travel. But once they're approved, yes, they can stop by the school and I'll sign their travel endorsement.
Great. Mr. Cruz? What are the admissions requirements for those international students who want to study at Atlantis University?
It depends on what their program is, whether they're going to study for an undergraduate, whether it's an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, or a master's degree. Once we interview the students, which is part of the admissions process, we'll determine what kind of documentation they need to be able to apply, qualify, and be recommended for admission within the institution. So for example, if they're doing undergraduate degree, they have to show proof by a diploma or a transcript that would indicate they graduated from high school. If they're applying for a master's degree, then they have to have proof that they already have a bachelor's or the equivalent to a bachelor's degree in the United States.
Professor Lima, as Director of Career Services, you advise students in the job search process, which can be very difficult, especially for students who come from other countries and therefore different systems. How do you help our students in the transition from students to employees? Do you assist in the designing of the resume and help them prepare for job interviews?
Right. Yeah, this is something that I have invested a lot of time and energy because Atlantis University is very committed to help the students to find jobs that really use their skills and knowledge and capabilities. So in terms of career service, we have a number of things that we put in place that are very foundational in terms of preparing the student in multiple areas that you just mentioned. Some of them, for example, interview management, preparing their resume, the online job search, the LinkedIn profile and social media profile, Facebook, Instagram, the way they dress for an interview, how they should go to dress. Those are formal courses, formal sessions that they participate, and we share best practice, negotiation skills, right? We also have longer term program to develop them, and they will develop their resumes and refining their resumes throughout the time that they are in Atlantis University. When the time comes and they're getting closer to start looking for a job, etc., I will set up sessions with them like mock interviews that they will train their interview skills, where we see their the shortcomings and what they should improve here and there. Also refine their resumes to be ready for prime time, and at the same time go to look for the job. We'll have a formal career matrix planning document that they'll fill in, and from the very beginning, and they'll help them to prepare in terms of what is the job that they're looking for, or the kind of work they're looking for, if they're looking for travel, if they want to stay in few locations, what are their interests, their skills, their skill gaps. All those things are done in a way that prepare them to have better chances for a very competitive marketplace.
Right. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Now it's time to listen. We have one of our international students here who will tell you more about the AU experience. Let's watch.
I chose to come to Atlantis because I wanted to enhance my career. Atlantis caught my attention because it provided a family-oriented atmosphere, and I liked the fact that it had small classes. The classroom type setting for Atlantis is very much practical. So when we're learning, we are matching it to what we did before and also point it to future goals in my life. My favorite course was organizational behavior because my background is human resources and I do want to do HR consultancy. So with what I've learned right now, I want to now impart that to benefit other organizations. My time here has been really rewarding. I enjoy every moment, and I would encourage anyone that if you want to enhance your career, if you want a loving and friendly environment, this is the place to be.
Through Atlantis University, I entered the MBA program studying business administration and management. And afterwards, I was introduced to the business intelligence and analytical program. I see Atlantis as a good example of a place where you can start or change careers. Together with my expertise in Latin American economy and the American Foundation of Business Intelligence, I can work adequately with any major corporation here in the United States or in my home country. In Atlantis University, you'll expect to find people from all over the world. A melting pot of different cultural backgrounds, which help you understand a better function of the globalization world that we live today. And that has given me the foundation to be prepared to go ahead and tackle the corporate world.
I'm a system engineer. I'm from Venezuela and I came here to improve my knowledge in technology That's why I did my MIT here in Atlantis University. I love databases and I want to improve my knowledge on it. And thanks to Atlantis University, I found a job. Today, I'm working in LATAM Airlines. I am a commercial operation analyst. What I do there is managing and administrating the databases and generating all the reports that the company needs. For me, one of the most important subjects here in Atlantis University was the project management, because where I work is not just databases. We have to know how to work as a team and reach the goals that the company has. So I'm very grateful with Atlantis University for all the keys that helped me. And it was a really good journey. I made a lot of friends, a lot of good friends. So thank you, Atlantis.
We will never get tired of stories like this one. Now it's time to answer questions those of you have asked through our chat. If you haven't asked, here's the time to do so. Starting off with our first question. How can I get my international transcript evaluated?
I'll take that question. If you are a foreign student here in the United States, you have to make sure that your transcript is, number one, translated into English. We have a lot of students coming from other countries, other languages. Therefore, that's the first step. They need to have that translated. The second one is to have it evaluated so that whatever degree they're getting in their own country is the equivalent to what we need to qualify for the degree they apply. For example, a bachelor's degree. Mm-hmm. So if they do have a bachelor's degree, when they evaluate their transcript, the transcript should indicate that it is the equivalent to a bachelor's degree in the United States. So that's a process, and there are many agencies. This is something that we communicate with the students so they would know where to go. It has to be an agency that is recognized by the Department of Education, and therefore they'll use what we consider in the United States, here in the state of Florida, what is the numbering system, which is standard when they do translations, to make sure that is equivalent to the education here in the United States.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our next question, do I have to live in the United States to attend Atlantis University?
No, you do not. We do have online courses as well as on campus. Would you like to elaborate, Mr. Cruz?
Sure. Education is now somewhat different because it's available wherever you are, as long as you are connected, right?
Right.
So if you have a computer and you have internet, you can study from anywhere in the world. What we do offer you is the option to do it physically here or from the comfort of your own home or wherever you may be. And so you can do it not only distance education, you can do it in campus, but you can also do it in Spanish or in English, because we're licensed and accredited to teach all of our programs in Spanish as well as English.
Wow. Our next question, are international students eligible for financial aid?
Financial aid is a program that is developed to assist either U.S. residents or U.S. citizens. So when you have foreign students that come here, part of their ability to come to the United States is to show that they have the funds necessary to finance all of the costs of their education as well as their living expenses. So students who are foreign here in the United States have to use their own finance resources to pay for their education. They will not be able to apply for financial aid as it is to assist, as I mentioned before, citizens or permanent residents of the U.S.
So since they're not eligible for financial aid, is there any other assistance they can apply for?
Atlantis University worked with all of our students in understanding, the different economies worldwide. One of the things that we do is that we take a look at each individual and determine if they're qualified for a scholarship. What this would do is to help them pay for their education. Scholarships, in our particular case, never cover 100% of the tuition, but they can go a long ways to assist them and make the education affordable to them. So what I would say is, when you submit your application, you also have to submit an application for a scholarship. This institutional scholarship will then review your own economic situation to determine how much and what the university can do to assist you with the cost of your education.
And our last question, do I need to pass the TOEFL to attend Atlantis University?
Yes, absolutely. And as a matter of fact, that's one of the requirements when a foreign student does apply. You have to have a 6.0 on IELTS or 70% on TOEFL. However, if anyone is interested, we do have language training programs, and we do provide a test and we can place. So any student that's interested, please apply.
Amazing, thank you. Well, those are all the questions we have. Thank you so much, Rebecca, Professor Lima, and Mr. Cruz.
Thank you, Sammy.
For your time and for sharing this critical information with us.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Sammy. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much for your time. Take care, and until next time.